Although 23 ranked teams play in Week 13, only 2 matchups contain a pair of top 25 programs. And of those 2, there's no question Penn State and Ohio State will attract most of the attention. While the Nittany Lions would need to defeat Rutgers next week, the Buckeyes could clinch the Big Ten East title. So effectively, the division crown is at stake in Columbus. That showdown is in the noon window Saturday, while Georgia tries to keep its college football playoff hopes alive when it hosts Texas A&M later in the afternoon. Other notable games to watch this weekend include the AAC matchup between Navy and SMU, as well as the ACC matchup between Pitt and Virginia Tech. Baylor and Texas will be worth monitoring as well. Hello, friends, and welcome to Week 13 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Gentlemen, we only have 3 weeks left of this college football season. Wow. It feels like just yesterday we were starting another season of this wonderful program, and here we are only a few weeks away from it being done for another year. Just amazing. So I think we're doing this show backwards, guys, because we're starting off with the main event. The main event is leading off this week, if you can believe it. But yep, it is going to happen. First game of the week, and it's the game of the week, hands down, far and away. Get ready for this. The number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes at home at the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio Stadium, hosting the number 8 Penn State Nittany Lions. High noon on Fox. You know who's going to be there. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft, and Ohio State opening up as a big favorite, believe it or not. They're actually opening up as an 18.5-point favorite. I think that's a little too steep, but then again, what do I know? So, but anyways, Penn State and Ohio State, here we go. In the last 2 weeks, Penn State has played poorly on defense. Minnesota and Indiana combined to complete 80.3% of their passes for 710 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That's not a good sign before playing Justin Fields, who is averaging 9.4 yards per attempt with 31 scores and 1 pick. And I'll tell you what, Penn State represents the first of a 3-game gauntlet separating Ohio State from its first playoff berth since 2016. The Buckeyes will be happy to have Chase Young back along the defensive line. He should be a huge disruptor in Penn State's backfield, not only for Sean Clifford's ability to target KJ Hamler and Pat Freiermuth, but also running back Journey Brown's ability to make positive gains. Conversely, Shake Toney and Yatir Gross-Matos will look to make life miserable for Justin Fields. This game will be closer than the point spread, but Fields' dual threat ability coupled with the running prowess of J.K. Dobbins should be enough for Ohio State to keep Penn State at arm's length on Saturday. I think it will be close for 3 quarters, but I think Ohio State will eventually pull away in the 4th. I'm going with Ohio State to win. My score, 38-24. Ohio State knocks off Penn State and moves one step closer to that elusive college football playoff spot, their first in 3 years. So there's nothing more to say. MF, the Kirk Herbstreit to my Chris Fowler. I just brought the Fowler. Now you bring the Herbie on what is the main event, and brother, don't get no bigger than this one.
And what a way to start our week, man. This is the biggest game of them all. Big implications for the college football playoff, no doubt about it. And this also has a ripple effect as it relates to the Rose Bowl as well. So there's a big game that if Penn State wins, they open themselves up to possibly secure the Rose Bowl spot. And on top of that, you're still fighting for Rose Bowl implications. A New Year's Six game is on the line in this game as well. The one thing that has to be factored in is really the big game. For Penn State, they've been in the war so far. They had one major trip up this point, which was a shocking loss not too long ago as they got dumped by Minnesota. And Ohio State is just chugging along, playing like they've been playing, dominating teams left and right. But I will say this. This is the first major test for Ohio State all year long. Everybody that they've played up to this point, they've dominated. Penn State could pose a major problem for them if they don't watch themselves. This is definitely a game that can go down to the wire. It's going to be exciting. Last year when these two teams got it on, Ohio State just barely escaped 27-26. So at the end of the day, how's this going to play out? This is going to come down to the wire. I disagree with Anthony on the score, but I do believe Ohio State will win the game. My final score is 35-31. Penn State, gallant effort, but they will fall to Ohio State. Ohio State, like Anthony said, will take one step closer to the college football playoff. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a really big way to start off the Saturday in college football. I mean, normally we get the main event either late afternoon or in prime time, but no, we're getting it right off the bat. And it don't get no bigger than this. I mean, Big Ten Eastern Division championship implications on the line in this one. I mean, and like you said, last year, Penn State, I mean, really gave Ohio State fits, and Ohio State barely beat Penn State. I mean, and like you said, not just college football playoff implications, but a spot in the Rose Bowl could be on the line in this as well. So, yeah, so Ohio State just simply needs to do its job, because if they don't watch themselves, Penn State could really nip up on them and basically could somehow pull off the upset. Now, here's the thing, guys. If this game was at Penn State, I would have called for the upset, just like I called for the upset last week with Iowa and Minnesota, and look how that turned out for me. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Ohio State to win this one. I mean, they do get their big time defensive player Chase Young back from suspension. That'll definitely help them out, but they really gotta watch themselves, because Penn State could give them fits again, and I think this is going to go down to the wire all the way. I'm gonna say my final score is going to be 34-31. Ohio State barely edges Penn State, but I would not be surprised if Penn State does pull off the upset. Florio, it's yours.
All right, and we move on now. We go from the game of the week to one of the Zonk games of the week, if not the Zonk game of the week right here. High noon over on ESPN. The number 5 Alabama Crimson Tide at home against the Catamounts of Western Carolina. Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. this one over on ESPN, and I'm trying to see who my usual announcer dirt sheet is believe it or not up, but I did find another one, but unfortunately it's taking a while for it to load. All right, I got it now. It's coming. All right. That would be Roy Philpott with Kelly Stufer, and I believe Lauren Sisler is the sideline reporter for that one. And Alabama, you have to imagine Alabama has got to be a beyond sizable favorite. There's a no line on this. So, but MF, as we started off,
I actually have a line here that I checked.
You do?
It's over on the ESPN app, and you want to say it's a sizable favorite? Try 57-point favorite.
That's the biggest spread in the history
my
of the show.
God!
That surpassed their. What was that? Wasn't it
50,
like 6?
50,
56 and a half?
56, yeah.
It's 57.
Oh my God.
57 varieties.
Talk about a major ouch.
57. Oh, boy. And MF, it's still 57 even without Tua Tagovailoa and that gruesome injury he suffered last week that ended his season.
Yeah, no. The way I feel about this is that, yeah, like you said, this is going to be an interesting matchup to say the very least. And unfortunately, in this instant, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a great game. It's going to be a great matchup. Easy for Alabama. And the thing is that now we're getting into a situation where, Alabama's going to need a lot of help. And I truly mean a lot of help as it pertains or as it relates to getting to the opportunity to play for the college football playoff. Because right now, I think they're on the outside looking in with everything that's going on with Georgia. With right now, the top 3, I think, is solidified. That's LSU, Ohio State, and Clemson. If one of those 3 fall, maybe you got a chance. Georgia right now is number 4. You got Oregon and Utah. If either wins out and the winner of the Pac-12 happen, they might get in. If it's Oregon, they got a very compelling argument because of the fact that the only loss was to LSU, and the loss was only 3 points. So, if you're Alabama, you need chaos to run amok just to get back in. And I know Saban's going to start talking about, look at our team. We've played great all year. Yeah, we haven't had there was one minor hiccup. We lost to LSU. We lost Tua. That shouldn't be a factor. There's so many things that I can talk about this. I could go on for days. Alabama, just handle your business. You're 57-point favorite. Just go out there and play and dominate like we know what you guys are gonna. Anthony, the old terminology is next victim. I think they'll get by this game. But that game against Auburn now becomes so vital and so important when they face next week, actually. When they face each other next week. That game, the Iron Bowl, now becomes a life of its own. Because if you're Auburn, you got a wounded Alabama team, you're probably sensing blood. You're probably sensing blood in the water. So, Bama wins easily. Next Tuesday might be a different story when we do our very special edition of the Football Feast. But until then, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I think Alabama's definitely going to handle its business, but Yeah, they're definitely going to need a lot of help if they're going to get into the college football playoff. I mean, who knows? Maybe it could come this week in the form of the game we just talked about with Penn State and Ohio State. Because I'll tell you this right now, boys, they're going to be huge Penn State fans because they are hoping that Penn State pulls off the upset and maybe some of the other teams lose and then they could get back in. But like you said, they need a lot of things to go their way if they're going to get back into the college football playoff. Because right now, they're on the outside looking in. Alabama, just take care of your business. And then you got the big one coming up next week with Auburn, the Iron Bowl. Flory, what's yours?
Yeah. The main story is Tua Tagovailoa's season-ending hip injury that pushed Mac Jones into the lineup. Can he beat Auburn? Will the College Football Playoff Selection Committee still value the Tide at 11-1 after the Week 11 loss to LSU? We'd caution against looking ahead, but Western Carolina is 3-8 and cedes 5.6 yards per rushing attempt. Najee Harris and company can carry Bama. Bama wins, but believe it or not, they're not going to cover the spread. They're still going to win massively, though. I still have them winning huge, 52-7. And that's the end of that. So let's move on. Speaking of a team that, had a golden opportunity in front of them, they controlled their own destiny, but then things came to a crashing halt a week ago. On high noon over on ABC, the now number 10 Minnesota Golden Gophers on the road again. They're squaring off against the Northwestern Wildcats at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. I do believe, Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Allison Williams, they will have the call of that one. And Minnesota opening up as 13.5-point favorites. Michael Bullock, we're going to start it with you here, and I'll give you credit where credit is due. You said Minnesota was gonna lose to Iowa. I believe you had that one.
Yes, I certainly did, and I'll tell you this right now. I mean, Minnesota's fuming. I mean, after letting this opportunity, I mean, they had a chance to control their destiny and maybe a shot at the Big Ten at the Big Ten championship game, maybe even a college football playoff. But I think both of those things are pretty much out the door. I mean, they would need a lot of things to go their way if they want to still have a chance. But I think at this point, I think it's all done. And Minnesota's not happy about it. So I do expect them to bounce back after losing to Iowa. So, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I got Minnesota winning this one. Flory, what's yours?
Definitely. It's Minnesota. Absolutely. While losing to Iowa stung, Minnesota still has Big Ten championship dreams. The Gophers should be able to rebound opposite Northwestern in its dreadful offense. Perhaps we're undervaluing the Wildcats' 400 yards in consecutive games, but the competition level wasn't high. Besides, Northwestern scored more than 15 points in one of its first 8 games. I think we will happily overlook the upset bid here. So I got Minnesota. I got Minnesota big. I'm going to say 31-14. Minnesota bounces back. They take care of business at Northwestern. Nothing more to say except MF. So close, yet so far away from Minnesota.
Yeah, what a demoralizing loss. What a crushing defeat. And, it was the Cinderella story, man, but midnight struck for Cinderella, and that carriage turned right back into a pumpkin, and there went their dream. They could still get in. They actually still have a shot at the Rose Bowl, but as far as playing for the college football playoff, most likely not going to happen. And that's a devastating defeat to suffer. A bad time to get a loss, especially this late in the year. a loss early in the year, you could bounce and recover from that. When you lose that late in the year, especially a couple of weeks left in the regular season, that was bad. That's a bad loss. That's a bad situation. Nothing more to say. Minnesota bounces back. Anthony, next game.
And it's another one of our Zonk games of the week. We have at high noon over on the SEC network, the number 15 Auburn Tigers at home at Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn. They're going to be hosting the Bulldogs of Samford. And on the call for that one, it will be Taylor Zarzar with Matt Stinchcomb and I believe Alyssa Lang on that. And the spread here, I don't believe there is one. No. What you have to. Oh, actually, no, it's an NA. They listed it as an NA. All right. So I stand corrected. So there is no line, but I'll make this short and sweet. It's SEC against FCS week. Auburn will host Samford, a 5-6 team that surrenders about 230 rushing yards a game. Auburn hasn't run the ball effectively since smashing Arkansas mid last month, but that trend figures to change on Saturday. Auburn, big win, 45-14. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, Auburn's going to want to get a little bit of some momentum going, especially as we're getting closer and closer to the college football playoff. And, well, not only that, but the Iron Bowl is next week. So Auburn obviously is going to want to win the game. They're going to want to get a momentum to go as they get ready for the big one. And that's the war, the fight, the battle, the greatest of them all. And this is going to be a make-or-break moment for Auburn. Can they, some way, somehow, knock off Alabama and truly end Bama's season? Because there's kind of the hope and prayer that Bama can get into the college football playoff. If they lose to Auburn, they're done. They are D-U-D dead. Yes, and I know I spelt it wrong, but I was trying to do the Michael Blackson on that one. He's dead! D-U-D! He's dead! So that's what we're looking at. That's what they want to do. Auburn gets the momentum going into the Iron Bowl. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I expect Auburn to win here big time and definitely gain some momentum going into the Iron Bowl matchup against Alabama next week. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
Yeah, and gentlemen, if there's any Zonk games, let's try to get through those quickly here, even if there's some things we need to address on them. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on here. Next high noon game. I only want to focus on the big games. So, Big Ten Network houses our next one, high noon. We have the number 17 Iowa Hawkeyes once again at home at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, hosting the Fighting Illini of Illinois. It'll be Kevin Kugler, Matt Millen, and Rick Pizzo on the call. And the spread here, it favors Iowa. Let me see if I have this correct. It is a 15.5-point spread for Iowa at home against Illinois. MF, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this. Iowa, that big win, another big November win at home. You remember they beat your Michigan team a number of years ago. They also, I believe they beat a Penn State team or an Ohio State team, one of those teams in recent years. So, MF, come on in. Can Iowa keep their momentum going after that big win against Minnesota? Can they continue that momentum against a suddenly halfway decent Illinois team that's got a couple of big wins this year? All right, I guess MF is on. I guess MF has left us for a moment, so I don't see anything in the chat box here. So Michael Bullock, come on in.
I'll take it first.
I'm gonna have you take the wheel on this one. Illinois and Iowa. Oh, there's MF. There's MF. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, MF.
MF.
It's Iowa. I'm not going to waste anybody's time on this one. So Bullet, go.
Yeah, I got Iowa winning this one and continuing to carry the momentum after the upset victory over Minnesota. So I got nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
Yeah, very good. Let me see. It's definitely Iowa here. The Illini suddenly have the most opportunistic defense in the country, leading the FBS with 26 takeaways. However, only 8 offenses have committed fewer turnovers than Iowa's 9. As long as the Hawkeyes protect the ball, they should avoid a letdown after the marquee win over Minnesota. So Iowa wins. I'm going to go 31-21. Nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next matchup. High noon on ESPN2. Number 21, Oklahoma State Cowboys squaring off against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Mountaineer Field at Milan Puskar Stadium. We got on ESPN2, it'll be Beth Mowins with Anthony Becht and Rocky Boyman. And Oklahoma State opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. So Michael Bullock, started with you here. Oklahoma State, West Virginia. Who you got?
Yeah, I got Oklahoma State winning this one. I think West Virginia couldn't keep it close at the very beginning, but Oklahoma State's going to pull away at the end. So I got the Cowboys winning this one. Florio, what's yours?
Yeah. West Virginia halted its 5-game skid with a 24-20 upset at Kansas State last week. The Mountaineers limited K-State to just 3.2 yards a carry, and their run defense is quietly solid despite the team's 4-6 record. But the Mountaineers are prone to turnovers, and OSU has snaggered 3 interceptions in 3 straight games. If West Virginia loses in that category, containing running back Chuba Hubbard will not be enough. Close game, but Oklahoma State will pull it out. I got Oklahoma State winning 27-20. MF, your thoughts? Oklahoma State and West Virginia.
Close game, like you said, but I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State. I think they're gonna pull it out as well. My final score is 24-20. OK State. So nothing more to say. Anthony, next game.
And that's our final high noon game. This one on regional FSN coverage. The number 22 Iowa State Cyclones at home at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa, hosting the Kansas Jayhawks. And trying to find it here. On the call for that one will be Mark Followell and Jordan Palmer. They will have it. And the spread favors Iowa State by 24.5. Oh yeah. There's absolutely no doubt about this one. I think this might be one of those games like we had last week where I didn't really have a preview here. So yeah, it looks like it. It's just a score for this. I'm going Iowa State 38-24. MF, how about it?
Agreed. Iowa State should easily beat Kansas. I just don't see Kansas is just they're not having a great season at all. They're struggling. They're trying their best. Give them the A for effort, but I just don't see them winning this game at all. So nothing more to say. Iowa State wins. Bullet, go.
Yeah, I got Iowa State winning this one as well. They should have no problems with Kansas. I mean, especially with Kansas having a not so good season. So Iowa State wins. Florio, move on.
The first of two 2:30 games, and this one has a lot of history. This first one, the number 16, my team, the number 16, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Senior Day, their home finale, their final home game of the year, and they are going to be hosting the Eagles of Boston College. A lot of history there, friends. You know what I mean about that. The final Notre Dame game on NBC this year. So for the final time, we'll get to see Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Chris Sims, and the beautiful Catherine Tappan. Notre Dame opening up as a 19.5-point favorite. MF, we started with you. Boston College, Notre Dame. A lot of history between these two teams.
A lot of history, and I'm just gonna say, I think Notre Dame is gonna win the game. They're really, this year their iteration is a lot more better than they were a couple of years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame to get the job done. There's really nothing more to say about it. Yes, the history is in the past. A lot of times, I think Notre Dame lost to Boston College on like 2 different occasions. Most notably was the big one, which was, I believe, 1993. It was such a crazy year because you had Notre Dame versus Florida State, and this was the big one. This was game of the century. Notre Dame versus Florida State at Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame won that game. And everybody was thinking, that's it. Notre Dame's now going to play for the national championship. They got past Florida State. There's nothing that's going to stop them now. Then a little team from the Big East went up to Notre Dame Stadium, named the Boston College Eagles, and dumped them with a last-second field goal victory to win the game. At the time, it was without a doubt the biggest win of the season for Boston College, and it also ended Notre Dame's dream of playing for the national championship. As a matter of fact, the benefactor of that was Nebraska. Nebraska benefited from that, and I believe it was Nebraska at the end walking with the national championship. So at the end of the day, Notre Dame has had a lot of great moments. They're 8-2. They still have a shot at New Year's 6. College football playoff is out of the picture, but the New Year's 6 is not out of the realm of possibility for Notre Dame. So we'll wait and see what happens. I got Notre Dame winning, and Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a lot of history with Notre Dame and Boston College. I mean, some of the most memorable games, and especially with Fletch just mentioned. I mean, yeah, Notre Dame still hasn't gotten over that loss that pretty much ended any chance of a national championship. So, yeah, I mean, college football playoff out of a question, but if they can win out the rest of their games, I could definitely see them maybe getting a New Year's 6 bowl game. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I got Notre Dame winning. They should handle their business with Boston College. Flory, what's yours?
I've been trying to block out 93 in my mind, and it just came back. So thanks, MF, for that. But nonetheless, it was a great history lesson. That's all there is to say on that. And that's what we're all about here. So yeah, painful memories for a young Notre Dame fan. But nonetheless, but there is another Boston College Notre Dame memory I do want to bring up. 2016, when these two teams played at the legendary Fenway Park. And what a game that was. It was a sloppy game, but Notre Dame ended up surviving despite 5 turnovers. So it had me on the edge of my seat, not in a good way. So I thought, oh, God, it's going to be 93 all over again. But nope, thankfully it wasn't. And I don't think it'll be this time around either. Through 10 games, Boston College has allowed 440-plus yards on 7 occasions. That, in the calmest terms possible, is extremely problematic. BC's running game will likely be successful, but Notre Dame should score too often for that to matter. So I got Notre Dame winning this one. High-scoring game, I think. I think BC will give them fits for like maybe 3 quarters, but then Notre Dame will pull away in the 4th. So I got Notre Dame winning this one 45-31. And all I can say was I was pleasantly surprised with how the Navy game turned out. I thought Navy was going to give us major fits, but did Notre Dame. That was our under siege right there. And it was great for us to be on the winning side of it for once. So, all right. So 45-31, I got BC winning. I got Notre Dame winning, rather, over BC. The other 2:30 game on ESPN Plus, The number 24 Appalachian State Mountaineers at home at Kid Brewer Stadium, hosting the Bobcats of Texas State. And I don't know who the announcers will be. I got to see if they have anything for well, actually, no. I don't have the announcers for this game because it's on ESPN Plus. So check your local listings for that. I do know that that App State is a very sizable favorite here. They're 29-point favorites according to my notes here. So, Michael Bullock, let's kick it off with you here. This should be an easy one for App State, I'm sure.
Yeah, no question about it. I got Appalachian State winning this one big, so I'm not going to waste any time on this. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, in a 63-27 loss to Troy, Texas State had a -4 turnover margin while giving up 368 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air. App State prefers to lean on the running game, but Zach Thomas has tossed at least 3 scores in 4 games this season. The Mountaineers can thrive early to crush the Bobcats, and they will. So 48-17, Appalachian State all over Texas State. Nothing more to say. MF, I'm sure we're going to make it unanimous.
Yes, this is a unanimous decision, no doubt about it. Appalachia State is going to win this game. There's really nothing for me to say here. So, yep, let's move on.
And we move on to our 3:30 slate of games. We have, 5 of them here? Yes, 5. And it starts off with the SEC on CBS. The number 4 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs at home. They're going to be hosting the Aggies of Texas A&M at Sanford Stadium in the infamous Hedges in Athens, Georgia. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie Erdahl, they will be there. And the Appalachian State is 29.5. I misread it, 29.5. And Georgia opening up as a 13.5 point favorite against A&M. Another one of the games of the week. But I'll say it like this. Texas A&M represents what is likely the last true regular season roadblock between Georgia and a college football playoff berth. The Aggies have won their last 4 games with a +81 win differential, while Georgia has had to slog through 1-possession victories over Auburn and Florida, sandwiched around a 27-0 win over Missouri. The Bulldogs have gotten by on the strength of their defense this season, allowing only South Carolina to score more than 17 points this season when they scored 20 in that upset loss. The challenge for them will be to limit Aggies quarterback Kellen Mond, whose dual threat ability can cause headaches for Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning. Mond will make a few plays, but look for Jake Fromm to continue playing mistake-free football. He hasn't thrown an interception in over a month. So let's keep that in mind. And since dropping to 3-3 after a brutal opening half of 2019, Texas A&M has earned 4 consecutive wins while posting 200-plus passing and rushing yards in 3 straight. At the worst, the Aggies are a threat. Still, Georgia hasn't allowed more than 20 points in any contest this season. I'll keep this defense riding into the SEC championship games. So I'm going to go 27-17. Georgia, Maiden Georgia, will get by Texas A&M. But MF, by golly, it will not be easy.
It won't be easy either. Yeah. I'm going to say Georgia as well. I just think that they're just going to be the better team on this one. So, yeah, I got Georgia winning as well. Really nothing more to say. And Anthony, I give it to you. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got Georgia winning this one as well. I mean, all they need to do is win out and really get some help to really secure their spot in the college football playoff. So, yeah, so there's nothing more to say. Let's move right along, Florio.
And I'll tell you what, guys, all of these 3:30 games are all very interesting games, to say the very least, especially this next one. 3:30 over on ESPN, the number 13 Michigan Wolverines squaring off against the Indiana Hoosiers, Memorial Stadium, Bloomington, Indiana. And on the call for that one will be Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe. They will have that. And Michigan opening up as 8.5-point favorites. It's only fitting that we started off with our Michigan super fan, good old MF Michael Fletcher. And MF, I mean, it's been said, I mean, since the second half of the loss to Penn State, Michigan, oh boy, have they been on fire. But you got yourself a big-time trap game. Don't look past these boys. Don't think about Ohio State.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. This is definitely a dangerous offense that Indiana does bring to the table. But the defense has stepped up for Michigan lately. Defensively, we went up against we went up against the Sparty. We went up against Michigan State, and we knew that was going to be an interesting game. We didn't know how we were going to handle that. We crushed them. So obviously we got the weapons we need. We got the battle, and the thing is like you said, we gotta focus. The job at hand is that we have to focus on the play, and more than anything else, and try not to get ourselves into any big time situation or any big time trouble. So yes, I get it. There's really nothing more for us to add here. It's just going to be an interesting matchup, to say the very least. And yeah, I'm going to give it the fact that I truly believe that at the end of the day, that Michigan should win. It's going to be close, but I got Michigan winning. So Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan really, they really got a test here against Indiana. As a matter of fact, I think I smell a trap game here. I mean, especially with Indiana's offense, but I do think the defense for Michigan will definitely step up. I mean, Indiana will definitely give Michigan some fits at the beginning, but they'll eventually pull away at the end. So I got the Wolverines winning this one, and they certainly cannot look past them and look ahead to that big showdown against Ohio State. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Michigan can't afford to look ahead to the game next week, not with this 7-3 Indiana team. The Hoosiers have lost 23 straight in this series, but have played the Wolverines to one-possession games in 3 of their last 4 trips to Bloomington. Indiana backup quarterback Peyton Ramsey stepped right into injured Michael Penix Jr.'s shoes against Penn State last week, completing 31 of 41 for 371 yards and a touchdown. Michigan would rather its defense keep him off balance for the entirety of this game. But the progression of their quarterback, Shea Patterson, the last 3 weeks, 43 of 67, 635 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, bodes well if this game stays close late. Although the Wolverines are riding a 23-game winning streak in the series, Indiana has 2 7-point losses and 1 10-point and 11-point defeat in the Jim Harbaugh era. Plus, 7-3 Indiana is nearing its first 8-win season since 1993, and the Wolverines have them sandwiched between emotional games with Michigan State and Ohio State. Defense tilts the scale in Michigan's favor, but it will not be an easy contest. So I am going to say Michigan wins it, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I say Michigan will barely pull this one out. I'm going 27-24, Michigan over Indiana. So nothing more to say. Let's get into another exciting matchup. Another exciting 3:30 game, that is. FS1 has this huge game in the Big 12. The number 14 Baylor Bears at home once again at McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas. And by God, it doesn't get any easier after that epic collapse against Oklahoma last week. Now they got to host the Texas Longhorns now. Oh, boy. Brian Custer and Robert Smith will be on the call for that one. Baylor opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, we start this one off with you here. The big question is, how does Baylor regroup after that epic collapse against Oklahoma last week?
Yeah, that Baylor is not happy after the way they were upset by the Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, yeah, this is a team I know that's definitely going to bounce back, and yeah, hold on a second. Yeah, Texas is definitely going to give them some fits at the beginning, but Baylor, no doubt about it, will definitely pull away at the end and really bounce back after a tough loss to Oklahoma. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
And before I get into my thoughts, we have a final from Thursday Night Football. The Houston Texans hang on to defeat the Indianapolis Colts 20-17. The Houston Texans now take over sole possession of first in the AFC South. They control their own destiny going forward in that division. So big win for them tonight. So let me get into my thoughts about this big Texas Baylor game now. Oh, man. What else is there to say? I mean, here's the thing. A Baylor win will ensure the Bears rematch with Oklahoma for a chance at the Big 12 championship. But Baylor may have bigger things in mind. Matt Rule and company still have an outside chance at becoming the number 4 seed in the playoff, assuming Baylor wins out and avenges its only loss of the season. That might be too tall an order, but Rule will have his team ready to play after the heartbreaking loss to the Sooners, who overcame a 25-point deficit to upend the Bears. That said, Texas hasn't scored more than 27 points in 4 of its last 5 games, the one exception of 50-48 win over Kansas. That doesn't bode well against the Bears defense that has given up 22.6 points a game in Big 12 play this season. I think Baylor rights the ship before moving on to Kansas and a rematch with Oklahoma. Now that Texas is eliminated from the Big 12 title conversation, barring some absurd chaos, will the Longhorns embrace the spoiler role or roll over? I don't know. I'm guessing the former, though an average defense will still prevent a win. But it's going to be a close, high-scoring game. But I'm going to go with Baylor to bounce back barely. I will say 31-27. Baylor barely gets by Texas. So nothing more to say. I mean, MF, we got into it during the last NFL Saturday show briefly. I mean, Baylor, oh man. I mean, they had things going like a purring kitten, but remember what Ian Anderson always said. You know what he always said? He who made kittens put snakes in the grass. And we all know who the snakes in the grass were.
Oklahoma, OU. How on earth do you allow that to happen? But it that is what it is, man. There's really nothing more to say. But yeah, when you definitely have anything like that, that's kind of more or less how it goes. Baylor will bounce back. Baylor should win the game, no doubt about it. They'll bounce back. They'll get the victory here. They'll put themselves one step closer for that rematch. I think they will get the rematch. I think it'll be a date with Oklahoma at Jerry World for the Big 12 championship. I think it'll happen. So I got Baylor winning. Texas, look, I love Texas, but I think they just don't have it. They don't got it this season. They had a great run. It's been an incredible run for them, but I think their journey's over. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, and I know that's hard for you, MF.
Oh yeah.
I know you're very high on Texas. We all know that. But they are bowl eligible. So we'll see where they end up come bowl season next month. But for right now, let's move on to our next 3:30 matchup. Old school Pac-12 rivalry right here. Looky here. Look who's back in the top 25 for the first time in a very long time. The USC Trojans. Number 23 USC Trojans. They're at home at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and they're going to be hosting their most hated rivals, the UCLA Bruins. 3:30 on ABC. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, Molly McGrath. They will be there. And the spread favors USC by 13 and a half. So I believe I start off on this one. So this rivalry game means little in the grand scheme of things, both in the Pac-12 and larger national football landscape. But it is a curious game considering the implications for Trojans coach Clay Helton. The 50-year USC coach has been on the hot seat for most of the season, and there's no guarantee a win against the 4-6 Bruins will be enough to secure his return for the 2020 season. USC's Keaton Slovis and UCLA's Dylan Thompson-Robinson should both put up big numbers, but look for the overall better Trojans to come away with the win in this one, I believe. So there's no question about this one. I think it's going to be a surprisingly entertaining game for the most part, but I think USC will pull it out here. I say USC beats UCLA 33-27. Nothing more to say. MF, UCLA, and USC. How about it?
Oh man. What was at one time one of the biggest rivalries in college football? UCLA and USC. This was the West Coast War, as they used to call it back in the day. But now it kind of lost its luster a little bit, but it's slowly but surely it's coming back. It's not all the way back, but I gotta go with USC. USC, they started out pretty slow. They started off, not on the good end. Now they're going to be playing a lot more better team, a lot more better battles. So I got UCLA. I got USC winning this game. Michael Bullock, I give it to you. Bullock?
Yeah, I got USC winning this one as well. I mean, definitely a lot of history with these two. Yeah, good to see USC back in the top 25. So, yeah, I mean, I think USC should have no problem with UCLA. So let's move right along, Florio.
Our final 3:30 game over on the CBS Sports Network. Big game in the American Athletic Conference right here. The number 25 SMU Mustangs on the road against the midshipmen of Navy at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. This one over on the CBS Sports Network. And, we got John Sadek and Randy Cross. I believe she and Stanwyck Birch works with them. So that's all I know for that. But John Sadek and Randy Cross will have the call. And look at this. Navy actually opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. You sure about that, MF, after Navy got manhandled and put under siege by Notre Dame last week?
Yeah, but that's the thing. They got put under siege, and no doubt about it, they did. But think about this. Eastern Carolina almost knocked off SMU. And they were 3-6. And yeah, Navy lost, but come on, it was Notre Dame. I think we kind of expected that to happen. So for them to be only a 3-point favorite, and the only game that they lost was to Memphis all season long for SMU. And yeah, the Navy, obviously they lost, they had that big loss, so there's no doubt about it. Navy has 2 losses on their year. One to Memphis, which was no big surprise, and then the Notre Dame. But the Notre Dame, like we said, Notre Dame is just a stronger team. They're great, they're amazing. So we expected that to happen. So you're going to Navy, going to their house. SMU just barely got by a 3-6 team. And with Navy, and yeah, they got bad. They were beaten up. But look, I think this is a bounce back game for Navy. They got to win this game because, like you said, big implications coming up. And they're at home. And last year, SMU was at home and just barely won by 1 point, 31-30. Anthony, can you smell upset? I do.
Absolutely.
Can you yell upset? Absolutely. Am I going to pull the trigger? In the immortal words of Kenny Omega, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bang! Upset just got pulled. Navy wins, and they're going to knock off SMU. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Fletch. I mean, I think Navy's gonna pull it out here, and yeah, because with the way, I mean, they got embarrassed by the Fighting Irish. You know, they're coming out with a big time effort, and I think they're gonna get rewarded big time for it, and they're gonna beat SMU. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Well, we didn't see the blowout loss coming. Well, I certainly didn't. Navy fumbled on its first 2 drives at Notre Dame, and the Irish quickly built a 21-0 lead. The bigger concern for this week, though, was a secondary that has struggled against good competition. Memphis, Tulane, and Notre Dame all averaged 10-plus yards per pass attempt against the midshipmen. SMU is likely to have similar success even on the road. This game is of vital importance to the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Assuming the winner of this game wins its next game against Tulane and Houston, respectively, they could conceivably make the AAC championship if Memphis loses to Cincinnati next Friday night. The midshipmen lead the country in rushing 349 yards a game by way of their triple option attack, while SMU ranks 30th in rush defense, 124 yards a game. It'll be close, but the backfield duo of Shane Buechele, 3,195 yards, 28 TDs, 8 interceptions, and Xavier Jones, 1,063 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns, should lead the Mustangs to a hard-fought win. So I respectfully disagree with MF and Bullock on this one. I still believe in SMU. I'm going with SMU to win this one. High-scoring game, 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama. SMU ekes it out 35-34. So nothing more to say. Let's move on. We have 2 4:00 games. Started off with the number 12 Wisconsin Badgers back at home at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, hosting the Purdue Boilermakers. This one over on Fox. And we got Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Coley Harvey. They will have it. And we have Wisconsin opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. So I believe it goes to Bullock here. So Bullock, I believe the Jonathan Taylor show should continue in this one.
Oh yeah, the Jonathan Taylor show is definitely going to continue, and Wisconsin's definitely going to roll in this one. So I really got nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours. An easy win for Wisconsin.
Absolutely. It's definitely Wisconsin here. No question about this. Leading go-ahead drives against Nebraska Northwestern is one thing. Purdue quarterback Aiden O'Connell is now preparing for the greatest test of his young career, a trip to play the nation's 8th best defense in one of the Big Ten's toughest environments. Other than that, no pressure, right? Yeah, Wisconsin wins big. And it's not often I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I predict Jonathan Taylor. I mean, not only am I going to predict Wisconsin wins big, but I predict Jonathan Taylor will go over 200 yards again. So that's my bold prediction. I'm sticking to it. So 38-17, Wisconsin. So MF, over or under 200 for Mr. Taylor?
I'm going to say under. I think he'll get like 175, 185. I don't think they'll get to 200 because I think they'll take him out of the game early in the game. So, but I do got Wisconsin winning the game, no doubt about it. They'll win this going away. Nothing more to say. Anthony, back to you.
All right, and we move on to the other 4 o'clock game. The number 18 Memphis Tigers on the road at the Bulls of South Florida, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, the home of WrestleMania 36 next April. 4 o'clock over on ESPN University. Clay Matvick and Ryan Leaf will have the call. And the spread favors Memphis by 14.5. So let's get into this one with Memphis and South Florida. Trying to find it. Okay. Despite a 4-6 record, USF is relatively stingy against the pass. The Bulls rank 33rd nationally, which has 6.8 yards allowed per attempt. So Memphis may encounter some cold stretches. But it's difficult to trust an offense that has only cracked 21 points in 4 games this season to threaten an upset. So I got Memphis winning this one 38-21. Nothing more to say. Memphis.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Memphis as well. I got really nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going with Memphis as well. So there's really nothing more that really needs to be added. So let's just move right along for you.
6 games left. We're in prime time now, gentlemen. So 7 o'clock over on ESPN. The number 1 LSU Tigers back at home at Tigers Stadium in Baton Rouge. Oh, boy, do they have an easy one. They got the doormats, the proverbial doormats of the SEC. Love you, Sorrell. Arkansas Razorbacks. 43.5 point favorite for LSU. MF, there ain't going to be no Woo Pig Suey. Oh, no.
Oh no, it's gonna be Tiger catnip served on Saturday night. No doubt about it. There's really nothing else for LSU to worry about right now. They got Arkansas, they got Texas A&M. I think they should be able to handle their business. The next major test is going to be the SEC championship game, which will be against Georgia. That's going to be the big one. That's going to be the one that will shape up the college football playoff, because if Georgia gets them, maybe 2 SEC teams get in. Maybe Georgia is that second team that gets in and locks everybody out. There's definitely a possibility for that. We're just going to have to wait and see. But right now, the way it's going, LSU should have no problem with Arkansas. Yes, Sorrell, we love you here, but unfortunately, sweetheart, it's not going to be your day. LSU, easy victory. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, LSU should be able to handle their business here. So I got them winning big. Florida with yours.
I got so caught up in the spread and all that, I forgot to mention the game's over on ESPN, and calling that game will be Dave Patch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luganbill. I forgot to mention that, but Arkansas has the second worst run defense in the Power 5, 121st nationally, and the secondary has given up 21 touchdowns with just 5 interceptions. How are the Razorbacks going to stop future Heisman Trophy winner Joe Burrow? Spoiler, they won't. LSU rolls, easy win, 52-24. Nothing more to say. Let's move on. The other 7 o'clock game, this over on ESPN2. Number 19, Cincinnati Bearcats. They're back at home at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. They're going to be hosting the Temple Owls over on ESPN2. And on the call for that will be Anish Shroff with John Congemi. And Cincinnati opening up as a 10.5 point favorite. So, Bullock, we started with you here. Temple against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I got Temple. I mean, not Temple. I got Cincinnati winning this one. I mean, yeah, I think they should be able to handle their business with Temple here. So I really got nothing more to add to it. Florio, it's yours.
Temple has recovered from a miserable 2-game stretch in October and held its last 2 opponents to fewer than 4 yards a snap. That improvement should keep the Owls close, but they've struggled on third downs lately. In the last 5 games, Temple has converted at a 35.4 rate and allowed 46.9% of attempts. Cincinnati makes it 9 straight wins. Close, though. 24-20, Cincinnati gets by Temple. Nothing more to say. MF, unanimous?
Agree, unanimous. I'm going to go with Cincinnati as well.
Okay, fair enough. We now move on to, of course, another one of the big staples of a college football Saturday. And we all know what that is, gentlemen. Not just the SEC on CBS, but also the ABC. The ABC Saturday night game of the week. And maybe not the most attractive matchup this time around, but it's an interesting one, though. We have the number 6 Oregon Ducks with a trap game on the road against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Sun Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona. You know, if it's the ABC Saturday night game of the week, you know who's working this. As always, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor. They will have this one. Oregon opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. So no big surprise there. So all that stands between Oregon and a 1-loss Pac-12 championship game berth is 2 500 teams. The first of those opponents is Arizona State, which has split its last 2 meetings with the Ducks in single possession games. This game has no bearing on the Pac-12 divisional races, but Herm Edwards' team will come into this game ready to play spoiler. They hang around for a quarter or two before Justin Herbert wills Oregon to a win in Tempe. Hopefully, you didn't dive headfirst into the Arizona State hype following its 5-1 start. The Sun Devils are an all-around average team, and a 4-game skid suggests maybe a little worse. Playing the nation's 6th-ranked team is a perfect opportunity to silence such a critic, but a pass defense surrendering 270.9 yards a game, 115th out of 130 FBS teams, with only 4 interceptions, should be a nice matchup for Ducks quarterback Justin Herbert. So I got Oregon winning, keeping their hopes alive, 35-21. Nothing more to say. MF, let's offer up some words of encouragement for our dear friend Eric Carrier.
You know what? I don't think he really needs the words of encouragement at this point in the game. He knows what's on the line. He knows what can happen. Basically, all you really need to do is just handle your business. I got Oregon making the playoffs if they win the Pac-12. I don't give a damn about all the other teams. I think, and this is my scenario, and I'm telling you this right now. If LSU walks through and wins the the SEC, if they win, they're going to be number 1. Ohio State, if they win out, they're in. If Clemson wins out, they're in. The 4th spot is all on the line. And I'm going to be very honest. If Oregon wins out, and that means they win their remaining games and wins the Pac-12, I don't give a damn who you are. I don't give a damn if you're Alabama, if you're Georgia, if you're Minnesota, if you're Utah, if you're Oklahoma, or if you're any team in any other conference. If Oregon wins out, Oregon goes to the playoffs. That's my bold statement right here, right now. Oregon goes through, finishes it all, and goes to the playoffs. They're my 4th team to get in. And they're going to start by winning this game on Saturday. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Man, oh man! I mean, talk about a bold statement there from MF, and basically him not giving a damn about the rest of the other teams. But yeah, I mean that could happen, but we just gotta wait and see how it all plays out because we gotta see what happens with the other teams that are right now currently in the college football playoff. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon gets in, but we've seen crazier things go down. So I'm not trying to say Oregon won't get in. I'm saying they still have a chance. So I got Oregon winning this one easily. So Florio, it's yours.
3 games left. 8 o'clock on Fox. Number 9, Oklahoma Sooners. They're back at home at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, hosting the Horned Frogs of TCU. I believe Joe Davis's crew is working this one. I just want to double check. Yes, Joe Davis with Brock Heward and Bruce Feldman. And I believe Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, Oklahoma, 18.5-point favorite. MF, Oklahoma back at home after maybe the greatest comeback in school history, that epic comeback against Baylor. I'm sure they can keep it going against the so-so TCU team, right, MF? TCU and Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's going to win this game. There's no doubt about it. TCU's not really that great. I just and the thing is that with Oklahoma, I'm going to say it. I get why a lot of people wants to see them get in, and I think a lot of people do. But the thing is, their loss to K-State was so bad and was such a shocker that I kind of feel like, even if they win the Big 12, I just don't see them getting in. I think that K-State loss hurts them. And, they can finish out. If they win the game, that's great. They finish it out. But I just don't see, how it plays out at the end. So we'll wait and see what happens. But at the end of the day, I got Oklahoma winning. Bullet, go.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll say the same thing. Well, first off, I got Oklahoma winning this one big. But yeah, I mean, the same thing with the previous thing we talked about with Oregon. I mean, to me, all they got to do, Oklahoma's got to win out, and then we'll see where they are. I mean, again, I'll say it. I mean, it's not like I'm saying that Oklahoma's going to get in. I just think they need plenty of things to go their way if they somehow want to get in there. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So for right now, I got Oklahoma winning. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma. These programs are probably sick of the drama. For both teams, 4 of the last 5 contests had margins of 7 points or fewer. Oklahoma has navigated that stretch at 4-1 overall, and they'll get another victory opposite of vulnerable TCU secondary. But the Horned Frogs are pesky enough to make the Sooners work for 60 minutes. Closer than you think, but Oklahoma will pull it out. I'm going to go 38-27, Oklahoma over TCU. 2 games left, 10 o'clock over on FS1. The number 7, Utah Utes, squaring off against the Arizona Wildcats at Arizona Stadium. 10 o'clock over on FS1. Corey Provis, Shane Vereen, and Petros Papadakis. They will have the call in Utah, opening up as a 22.5-point favorite. So, Bullock, I think we all know who wins this one.
Oh yeah, it's the Utah Utes all night long here. So, Florio, it's yours.
Will this become a hashtag Pac-12 After Dark special? No, sure doesn't seem likely, considering Arizona has dropped 5 straight outings while allowing 44.6 points a game along the way. Utah should overwhelm the Wildcats on both sides of the ball. Utah, easy, 45-10. Keeps pace with Oregon. MF, Utah, easy. Well, I don't see MF, but I'm guessing
What, there?
It's Utah. It's Utah.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to be sure. All right. So Utah wins. They keep pace with Oregon. Final game of the night, 10:30 kickoff over on the CBS Sports Network. The number 20 Boise State Broncos squaring off against the Utah State Aggies. Merlin Olsen Field at Maverick Stadium. And on the call for that one, it'll be Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Jenny Dell. They will have it. And Boise opening up as 7.5-point favorites. So let me try to find. Okay. Utah State boasts a 5-1 conference record and a 4-1 mark at home, but the Aggies have regularly struggled against better competition. On the other hand, Boise State is dealing with a problematic number of injuries to star players, including quarterbacks Hank Bachmeier and Chase Cord, and edge rusher Curtis Weaver. But I'll take the Broncos while monitoring those statuses closely. Boise State pulls it out barely, 31-24. I got Boise State over Utah State. MF, wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Boise State as well. There's really nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, go.
Yeah, I got Boise State winning this one as well. So, there's nothing more to say. Gloria, let's wrap it up.
And that will put the bow on this Week 13 edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. We got some very exciting future content coming up, and it all starts tomorrow night. We're going to bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher and MF. Nothing more to say except get ready, folks. MF is about to set the table for what will be, probably for the first time since maybe the premiere and or the draft, the biggest Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk show to date.
Yeah, we are. We're going to start it off with SmackDown, as always. And then we got two previews, NXT TakeOver War Games and Survivor Series. That's all going to be going down. And because of the importance of this show, a special start time will happen. 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Yes, you heard me right.
All right.
10 p.m. Eastern.
I love it.
Immediately after SmackDown goes off the air, because of the big nature of the show, we are going to be talking Survivor Series, NXT, and SmackDown. Oh, yeah. We got to do this big. So, nothing more to say. 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Anthony, take it home.
It all starts there, folks. We're going to review Friday Night SmackDown. Daniel Bryan has called out Bray Wyatt for a face-to-face. Let's see what happens with that. Plus, you have to imagine Raw and NXT will be around. You got to believe that. So yes, that'll be Friday Night SmackDown. We'll also preview, as we said, NXT TakeOver War Games. 2 War Games matches, mind you. And then, of course, we wrap it all up with our preview of the 33rd annual Survivor Series. Maybe the biggest Survivor Series, and one that I think will give 2002 a run for its money as the greatest one of all time. We'll see. So that's tomorrow. Normally on Saturday, we have NFL Saturday, but because of special commitments beyond my control and MF's control, and as a matter of fact, we're not going to have NFL Saturday for the next 2 weeks. This Saturday is because of the commitments for myself and MF. The other reason for the following week is because we're going to be taking that off for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend there. So no NFL Saturday for the next 2 weeks. We will be back with NFL Saturday tentatively on Saturday night, December the 7th. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on when we get to that week. But so no NFL Saturday on this Saturday or the following. And then Sunday night, immediately following Survivor Series, we will have our recap of the Survivor Series over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95. And then Monday night, we have Ridiculously Raw. We sort out the Monday Night Raw fallout from the Survivor Series when we review Monday Night Raw, as well as my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live. And I got a very high praise for one of the matches on this past Impact Wrestling. Very high praise. I could go as far as to call it their match of the year, if I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not often we have a Tuesday show, but we have a Tuesday show this time around. It is our annual Strictly Sports Football Feast. We're gonna be previewing. We're gonna be doing the college football games on Tuesday, and in addition, we're also going to preview the 3 Thanksgiving NFL games: the Chicago Bears against the Detroit Lions, my Buffalo Bills against the Dallas Cowboys, and the New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. And then, of course, all the big games, rivalry week. It's here, and it goes down next week. And we know what to expect. Some of the big ones, of course, Michigan and Ohio State, the Iron Bowl with Alabama and Auburn. There's Iowa against Nebraska. We got Cincinnati against Memphis. Of course, Ohio State and Michigan. The Civil War, Oregon State and Oregon. The Iron Bowl, of course. Wisconsin against Minnesota. A&M against LSU. Florida State against Florida. And Bedlam, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Have we whet your appetite yet? So, and that's all going down Tuesday. All those big college games and the 3 Thanksgiving NFL games. And then, of course, Wednesday Night Mayhem. We'll get into AEW. We'll get into NXT. And I'm pretty sure we'll also be reviewing the NXT TakeOver War Games on that show as well. So, and then after that, we're taking Thanksgiving weekend off. After that Wednesday Night Mayhem, we don't see you until Ridiculously Raw the following week. So, hope you got all that. There'll be a quiz later. So, that's all there is to say on that. So that'll put the bow on this. So until tomorrow night for the biggest Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk to date, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Twisted Angel Didi Whitson, and always and forever Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the biggest Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk to date with MF on BraceFan95. You've been watching Week 13 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.